All right, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say a very, very big welcome to our last week of DEN203 IT Strategy in Management. It is an exciting week somehow because it is a week where I'll be able to go and tell you about my final message for the future, tell you about, all of the stuff that I want you to know about, all of stuff about, how much I believe in you and how I can actually go and work with you all the way into the future. But also it's about ensuring you're going to go and fly, fly high and then go and create really a good future for yourself. And that's really the most important thing for me. I just want you to go to do better and bigger things in life. And it is great that we actually reach this point now where you've been working hard every single week to be able to get to here. So I just want to say a very quick thank you very much for all your hard work. I really, really appreciate your effort. And I really encourage you to continue working hard all the way up until you go and do the final exam and you do well. And to be able to do the final exam well, I'm going to give you some suggestion. I'm going to give you some questions, which I really very highly encourage you to be able to go and really work on and prepare them before you really come to the class on this week, because it is really giving you the guidance that will help you to go and really get a good outcome. So please make sure whatever I give you today, you're going to go and spend a good 3 hours to sit down and work on them and trying to go and find the answers for all of this information. At the end, you know the teaching team very well now. All of our details are available on Moodle, and if there's anything you need in terms of making contact with us and speaking to us, you are very welcome to go and do that, and we are very happy to go and help you, so feel free to use any of those details. And I want to remind you very importantly now, more than ever, there is a copyright that we are going to go and be looking at. You're going to go and be having a lot of final exam questions. None of these questions requiring and copying and pasting answer. If you go and copy and paste anywhere, you are going and simply be setting yourself out for failure. We do not want you to fail. We want you to go and really do well. So please make sure you focus very well on the work that needs to be done. Please make sure there's no copying and there's no pasting really happening at that point of time in terms of your work, because the last thing I need is the results to go and not be released, or there will be an issue with the results because there is an academic misconduct. So please make sure not to do any of that copying at all. Just everything needs to be in your own words. Last week, we spoke about the evolution of IS and IT strategy in theory and practice. We spoke about a brief resume of some core ideas relating to that. We spoke about building an IS and IT or a digital strategy. We spoke about creating an IS and IT assets to improve our performance as an organization. In other words, we make the investments in order for us to be able to go and ensure we are reaching a proper outcomes. We spoke about achieving alignment. And when I talk about that, I talk about a multi-team perspectives. We need to align, IT with what we use in the organization, what the organization is using need to be aligned with what is happening in industry. There's all of these alignment we go and really talk about. We spoke about, the co-evolution of business and IT and digital strategies, how they need to keep on changing and evolving according to what is happening in the environment. We spoke about the role of the CIO, how they can have a great strategic role that is important to go and really drive big changes in the organization. They don't simply need to be, IT managers. They need to be business leaders that are going to be driving changes in the organization. And we're concluding, in terms of all the work that we've basically been doing throughout the course. What am I going to be covering today? I want to go and provide a final exam information. I want to discuss the learning outcomes that you must be demonstrating as part of your final exam. We're going to check some chapters that help you cover these learning outcomes. And we're going to discuss some models from different webinars that you need to be able to go and really get to. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the exam is planned for the 5th of October on a Tuesday between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. Please double check your timetable to be able to go and ensure that you have the right answer and whether any changes basically went and have actually happened. The exam duration is really 2 hours. You need to basically answer 5 questions in depth, and each of those questions is actually worth 8 marks. The exam paper is worth 40% of the overall marks. So, you need to go and really do well. A lot of you needs at least 20% to be able to go and pass. But we need to go and try to provide very detailed, good answers in order for us to be able to go and really get a good mark and get a good outcome in terms of the work that you need to go and really be doing. So please focus on that and a lot of details. Questions are going to be testing all of your understanding of the various chapters that are basically in the lectorials and the webinars. So you need to basically go and explain the theoretical terms and models that are available. So we spoke about so many theoretical models, we spoke about so many terms, and we basically need to go and ensure you're going to go and discuss all of these items in detail. So make sure you discuss them and see basically what is, how you're going to go and apply them to real life context and discuss them in details. You need to ensure that your answers address every part of the question where applicable, because sometimes I might be asking you for a question and it's more than one part of the question. So make sure you read your question in a lot of details and make sure you answer them in a lot of details, not simply a high level answer, a detailed answer that is covering every single part that you need to go and really be covering. Your answers are marked on content. So don't copy and paste, and you need to write as clearly and as correctly as possible. So when you're giving me a text and a paragraph in your answers, I need to make sure that you guys, spell checking, make sure the idea is coherent, make sure, I can at least read it and understand what answer you're trying to go and give me in the work that you're trying to go and be presenting. Your answers are not expected to give any word-to-word copy of any content, but you should clearly demonstrate that you understand and you can apply all of these concepts that you've learned in the classes. If you don't show me you know them, you can apply them, you won't be able to go and get a very good outcome in terms of your work. If you attempt to copy any content from the slides, from the friend, from the internet, this is a straight no. It will result in no marks, because I will then have to go and take it to academic misconduct. Do not copy, not from a slide, not from a friend, not from the internet. I have had to go and deal so much problem this semester because some of you guys will go and take the file, you will finish the work, you will do a very good job, and then you will share your file with someone else. And then what does that someone else go and do? They will take that file, they will start putting some of that information, they will submit it to the internet, and then it becomes a very, very high similarity. I do not want any of you to be losing any marks whatsoever. I want you to get very good marks. I don't want you to lose any marks. So please make sure it's very clearly, I can't tell it more clearly than that. Do not, and I repeat, do not share the work that you're doing during the exam or after the exam. Do not share it with a friend. Do not share it and copy something from the internet. Do not get any slides and copy them, because that will go and result in getting a poor outcome. So always paraphrase to make the intended point so that your point is going to become very, very clear. Please always go and do that accordingly. What are the learning outcomes we need to demonstrate? If you go and open your subject outline, they will tell you what learning outcomes are relevant for your final exam. What are they? They're here. You need to show me you understand the main issues surrounding the governance of the IT function in an organization within the context of a formal governance framework. We spoke throughout the course about some governance framework. We spoke also about how do you go and take actions through various structural elements to make sure that any governance decisions we make are going to go and be implemented. So you need to know about those things. You need to demonstrate that you understand the importance of aligning my services in terms of information technology and systems with a business operation. What does the business need? What does the IT deliver? They need to be basically very much aligned with each other. So you need to demonstrate you go and understand that. You need to demonstrate you understand the fundamental risk management processes and the application to IT governance. And I told you last week the importance of risk management for your final exam. That's exactly aligning with the learning outcome we need to go and be demonstrating as part of the work we need to go and do. We need to explain and apply to simple context the techniques and tools of a formal framework for analyzing and improving the alignment between business and the information technology service functions that we are really working on. So make sure you, if I give you any model that or any tool that I go and explain for you, or any framework that I explain to you, make sure you're going to go and really discuss that and explain how it basically improve alignment between business and the information technology services. We're going to explain the characteristics and elements underpinning IT strategies and apply appropriate tools and techniques to align business and IT strategies and planning. We're going to also explain the role architecture as an analysis and design framework for organizational information system. We're going to understand and explain the challenges of system integration as an inevitable component of achieving coherent IT infrastructure provision in an organization. So it's all of these things we need to go and really demonstrate. We're going to go and know as part of the exam we would like to go and really work on. So it's very, very important. You cover all of these topics, and I've tried to make it simpler by basically presenting all of these slides that you need to really go and know as part of your work when you are going to go and be presenting the final work of what you're going to be basically submitting for the final exam. So please make sure you look at those learning outcomes and you revise all of these questions that I'm going to go and give you. Now, I want you to spend a few minutes now provide an example from the taught chapters that can help you go and cover the learning outcomes. So I mentioned many learning outcomes. Can you just try to find one example from any of the taught chapters that could help you to demonstrate any of these learning outcomes? Just any of them. Maybe open lecture 1, lecture 2, lecture 3, any of them, and go and find any of these that basically could help you to go and apply the learning outcomes. I'm going to give you around 4 minutes for this exercise. Please go and do it now. Thank you very much. All right, guys, your colleague just referred me to this slide and talking about, how we need to go and look at the business strategy, how we need to make a business case, how we need to go and create innovation and projects, and then how we're going to go and really deliver all of these services from those projects that we go and deliver. That's correct. And it's all aligned with the business strategy. So there's an alignment between the business strategy and the actual system that is really available for us within the organization. Let me ask you a question, my friend. You chose that example, which is a good example. If I was to go and ask you to go and tell me, let me go and close that for a sec. Could you just tell me let's go to the learning outcomes. Which learning outcome from these ones would you be able to go and demonstrate using that particular model? Which one, Shanban? Was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 7?
Number 4, I guess.
Okay, explain applying simultaneous techniques and tools of formal framework for analyzing and improving alignment. Yeah, I like that. Or you can even think about, this one here, demonstrate and understand the importance of alignment information technology services and systems with the business operation and strategy. So that's a very, very good answer, mate. It's really what I want you to go and really try to identify as part of your work. But what you're going to notice here, I've given you so many slides here, and we'll be very much explaining many, many more slides when we are going to go and come to the webinar. But just I've put some examples, for example, here we show how we go from a marketplace, the actual physical stores, how we're now all becoming more market space. I showed you how previously we used to have all of these physical systems and stuff, and now all of that information from these physical systems automatically goes and gets recorded on computers, so we can analyze at any point of time how everything is really progressing and whether there is any issue. This is another one where I showed you, we need to go and have a strategy, and our digital strategy needs to go and really tell us what we need to go and really be supplying and what the business really is needing. So the need is about the demand in terms of information systems and the information that we need to go and have available in our organization, and supply is all of these technology that are going to be supplying what we need to enable us to go and really produce the solutions that we would like to go and produce. But our digital strategy is really aligning with what we are trying to go and do as an organization. It's all about what does my business need, and we're trying to go and deliver things accordingly. I spoke about the importance of creating all of these various strategies. And when we talk about strategies, I spoke about various level of strategies, the headquarters sort of strategy, the business unit sort of strategy, and the functional strategy. I gave you the example of Wesfarmers, how Wesfarmers is basically the corporate strategy. They are the high level people who basically go and manage more than one business. They have Kmart, they have Maya, they have Target, and all of these other businesses. What do they have? They have their own strategies. And you know, these strategies are important. You know, they need to decide, you know, how will they compete, how will they kind of go and become sustainable. That information needs to go and be very clearly stipulated there. And we spoke about the functional strategies, you know, how will the different functions, you know, sales, marketing, operation, R&D, logistics, how are they all important in order for us to ensure we are delivering the outcomes that we are supposed to go and be delivering as an organization. I gave you this model where we spoke about the strategy. You know, we have our business strategy, we have our IS strategy, we have our IT strategy. All of these strategies are in line with each other. And because of all of these strategies, we go and decide and we start plan what is my intended outcome, rather for the business or for IS and for IT. And then we said, we start implementing things in real life. And when I'm trying to go and make all of these implementation, sometimes there are things that we do not reach. And this is what we call unrealized strategies. But there are also things that we can actually go and realize. And that's really our realized strategy. And our realized strategy is a lot of time different than our planned strategy, because our plan have many things that we did not deliver and we basically don't deliver them. But also our plan had things that, you know, we thought about, but when we went and realized our strategy, we actually delivered other stuff that we were not actually planning and thinking about as part of our intended outcomes. Because we saw that things had changed, we saw things did evolve, and we basically made all of that involvement accordingly. We decide what we want to do as an organization by looking at all of these changes, both inside my organization as well as outside the organization. I like this model because it talks about, you know, tracking progress, you know, setting plans and tracking progress. But if I want to go and set all of these plans and set objectives, they are based on my vision and based on my strategy as an organization. I have all of these decisions or these objectives relating to my customer, relating to my learning and growth, relating to my internal business operation, relating to my financial presence as the organization. We have all of these objectives and we have all of these initiatives to be able to help us to deliver our objectives. We have all of these targets. And these targets really are relating to those initiatives that I went and I set. And I have all of these measures. We need to go and be measuring how things are actually being progressing, how things are working, to make sure we are really progressing towards really achieving the outcome we would like to go and really be achieving. So I spoke about this balanced scorecard model that basically set objective, link it to measures and targets, and ensuring we don't simply set a vision and a strategy for the organization. We also ensure and monitor and confirm that the outcomes that needs to go and be delivered are actually really being delivered. I spoke about this model, and this is I call the innovation model. I said whenever we go as an organization, we start with all of those ideas. We pick up all of those ideas, and in these ideas, you know, we make people aware of them. There's this idea, let's become aware of it. And when I have that awareness about the idea, we start kind of go and look at that idea and evaluate it. Is it a good idea or is it not a good idea? And if we find that something is a good idea, we basically go and start implementing all of that idea. Implementation is about ensuring we are going to go and be delivering that particular outcome. And once we go and implement it, it's not really enough to implement it. We need to go make sure that people are going to go and be using it. So it needs to be assimilated as part of the processes, the normal practices, what we do as an organization, because if we do not go and really implement it and start using it where we should be doing it, we won't be able to go and really get our outcomes. So it's all getting all the way from getting an idea to basically implementing the idea and ensuring it is being assimilated within the organization in terms of how people are actually using it to get the outcomes we would like to go and really deliver. I speak about this model that I really like quite much, because I talk about all of these competitive forces that basically pushes on me a lot of changes, pushes on me how I need to go and be really operating. You know, if there's all of these threats of new entrants all around me, how can I use information system and IT to make it difficult for people to come and compete with me? How will new entrants, enter the market based on IS and IT? How could they use IS and IT to enter the market? How can IS and IT build in switching cost / change customer relationships? There's at the moment, there's all of these power of the buyers. They can go and get whatever they would like from anywhere. How could I go and use IS and IT to make a change? I have more power rather than them having more power over me. How will IS and IT increase the power of the buyers and make them, for example, all of these comparison website of the prices? What are the threats of all of these substitute products or services? If there are all of these substitutes, how will IS and IT generate new products or services that maybe other people are able to go and really use? What about the bargaining power of all of my suppliers? How can IS and IT change a balance of power and the relationship with all of these various suppliers? We think about all of these rivalry among all of these common competitors. Again, they might actually go and influence. If there's more competition with each other, we need to keep on basically delivering the best solution so that our customers are not going to go and leave us and go somewhere else. So all of these components really go and bear in mind that could have a direct influence of how we are and really operating in the industry and whether we are going to be successful or not. That's another one that I really like, is because I spoke about, all of these. It's like one slide that goes and links everything, links all of these tools, all of these processes that we spoke about in order for us to be able to go and decide on a future applications portfolio. In other words, what sort of strategic investments, high potential investments, support investments, and key operational investments we are going to go and be employing to be able to go and get the right outcomes. Here, the numbers I told you about, all of these chapters, we spoke about business process analysis in chapter 4. We spoke about missions, objective, balance scorecard, and critical success factors in chapter 4. We spoke about strategic competencies in chapters 2 and chapter 6. We spoke about business and product portfolio analysis in lecture 2, pastel analysis in lecture 2, industry and competitive forces in 2 and 6, perceived value of the customer. But they see that whatever I'm delivering is basically, they have a good perception that it's good for them to go and use in chapter 2 and 6. I spoke about value chain and network analysis in 6, which you guys use also for your assignment. We spoke about product and customer lifecycle analysis in 2 and 6. We spoke about technology innovation in 5. We spoke about organizational modeling in 4. And we spoke about big data analysis in 5. So there's a lot of various ways we went and actually spoke to be able to go and really use tools and models that help me to go and decide what am I going to go and be investing on at any point of time within the organization. So it's really important you really know about all of these particular items. We spoke about enterprise, ERP systems, all of these big systems that really relate and connect all of our department within the organization together. And we spoke about, any particular problem we have and how we plan to go and implement an enterprise system that is going to be connecting my organization together. So basically it become like my baseline of how I need to go and really be operating in terms of the work we do. But what I said is the organization evolve, things go and evolve. So we have all of these future visions and future systems, and we go and start trying to go and replan what we want to do, make new implementation and make revisions of that initial ERP system that we went and delivered, because we would like to keep on really connecting all of these organizations together in the right manner. And we spoke in chapter 9 about, how we have an idea, as an idea, we come and give it to the right business representative who basically go and discuss it with the sponsor, and together they go discuss it with a demand management facilitator, because this demand management facilitator goes and discuss it with the right people and go and say, all right, we need this, Mr. Supply, we want you to go and deliver that for us. So you basically go and pick up the idea and start telling people we need to go and get that idea to go and be delivered. And the supply people go and say, all right, let me go and analyze it. Let me go and see the costing, the timing, when I can deliver it. Let me go and see if it's a high priority. And they start getting all of these resources so that we're going to go and be implementing the right solution within the organization to be able to get the demand that is really needed to go and be fulfilled. And otherwise, that idea to really go and be fulfilled. I spoke about this model, and I told you it's a cultural web. It's a tool devised by Gary Johnson to assess the culture of an organization. We can look at their symbols, power structures, organizational structures, control system, rituals, routines, stories. We spoke about all of these things, and we spoke about how some of these things are related to the instruments that an organization go and use to be able to ensure that the outcomes that they would like to go and be delivering are actually being delivered. So we spoke about, things like, the organizational structure as an instrument by itself that basically get people to start be reporting to the relevant people. And when you're reporting to those people, they are basically monitoring the work you've been doing. And because they're monitoring the work that you've been doing, they are basically ensuring that the work that has been planned for the organization is actually being delivered. So that's one of the instruments we spoke about that we can use as an organization to ensure we are going to go and be getting outcomes to go and really be delivered within the organization. And I spoke about this model, which one of your colleagues earlier highlighted for me. It's the IT and business, the IT and IS strategy, how they're all interrelated. We have governance principles and rules that will allow us to go and really look at all of these business cases, decide what are we going to go and be investing our money in, which sort of area. Once we go and evaluate the best ideas, we go and decide to go and implement them in the form of all of these various projects. And these projects, my friend, then that's part of my innovation. And then we go and these projects deliver a product or a service. And then that service basically gets released to the customer. So the customer start using that service because the project is now delivering that service. For example, internet banking project is that internet banking. It is a project to deliver an internet banking functionality. But once internet banking is available, it becomes a service. I can go and log in and make internet banking. My friend could log in, my colleague could log in, anybody could log in and use all of these internet banking services. So as a bank, we no longer need to focus on it as a project. We need to focus on supporting those services because of the customer having any problem with using that internet banking. Then we need to go and make sure we are really delivering them with the support that they need to be able to get the job done. But we deploy those services, we provide the right administration, we keep on evaluating them because sometimes those services are no longer needed or used by the customer. So what happened there? You eliminate them and you start basically delivering new solutions that are really more valuable to our clients at any particular point of time. We also spoke about this model, how we need to go and think about where our investment, our IS and IT expenditure and investment is basically allowing us to build our assets, digital assets, and those assets, when we are going to be using them in the right processes within the organization, they enable us to go and reach the right goals, better performance, more agility to the changes around us, speed of adaptation, and all of these together, these outputs or these impacts that we are delivering are helping us to go and really get better organizational performance. We get better outcomes really being delivered to us within the organization. So it is about spending the right money all the way so that we can go and reach the right outcomes. Any questions?
No, sir.
So these are the 12 models, sir?
These are what?
These are the 12 models that gonna come, like important to our exam?
Well, these are what I'm introducing in the lectorials. There are many more that are going to be covered in the webinar, and we'll talk about them there in more details. But this is just me introducing some topics that might be relevant for your exam.
Okay, sir.
Any other questions, Shandan?
Not now, sir.
No worries. Any other questions? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I want you, before you come to your webinar, I want you to go over the chapters and the models mentioned. Okay, you might even want to go and open the slides that are already available on the webinar there for you. What I want you to do then, I want you to go and attempt the following questions before your webinar this week. The first question is, I want you to discuss the importance of engagement between IT and business personnel in relation to developing information system and IT strategies. So why is involvement between IS and IT people and business people important for us to be able to go and really develop IS and IT strategies? The second question I would like you to go and answer, I want you to discuss the topic of system integration in relation to IS and IT and its impact on the need for IT infrastructure. So IT infrastructure is all of these technology I need to be able to go and really ensure the solutions within the organization work. So what I need you to do, I want you to go and discuss that system integration, how systems go and integrate together. You might be having a system from one organization, another organization. They now become one company. They need to integrate their systems together. So I want you to discuss all of these topic of system integration in relation to IS and IT and how it impacts on the need for IT infrastructure that we need to go and bear in mind. The third one I want you to bear in mind, I want you to discuss the importance of various instruments to govern IS and IT. We spoke about a number of instruments, and these will be available in the webinar slides that are already posted on the internet. But there are instruments that we spoke about that are available. I want you to go and really look at all of these instruments to be able to go and decide how are you going to go and be using them as part of the work that you're trying to go and do. I will be covering more in details in the webinar, but I need these to really be worked on in details. I need you to not go and spend time to make them very quickly. I want you to spend a very good detailed time and effort to go and do those answers as if there are final exam questions, because I tell you, they have some relationship somehow to the final exam questions. Your answers shouldn't be anything less than really 1 to 1.5 pages. It needs to be detailed. You can give examples, you can give a lot of information, but I want you to prepare them very well before you come for your class, because in the class, you can then start showing me some of your answers and I'll be able to go and see whether you basically answering them well, or whether I can go and suggest some ways you are able to go and improve your answers. So please make sure you go and do all of these before you come to your class in the webinar this week. Other notes, I want to give you some of those details that are here available here. My phone number, my email, my LinkedIn, my Facebook. You can search for Fadi TK. You can use the link that is available on Facebook. You can search also all of these groups. So this Facebook page is my personal one. These students are beautiful individuals. That's a really site that I went and I actually created to be able to go and ensure that that I'm able to go and really, you know, give you a lot of motivational messages from time to time, and making sure if there are any opportunities I can basically think about, I basically make them available for you so that you are able to go and really use them. And obviously, if you want to make contact with me, I have a lot of information that I'll be able to go and help you, including, you know, in the future, in case of any options that you would like to go and remain here in Australia once you finish you go and degree. Now, thank you very kindly for your time, guys. I really appreciate all your hard work you've been basically doing. Keep up the good work. We are very, very close to having a good outcome. Thank you very much for all your hard work.